Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this palette arrived a couple of days ago. This is the Tribe palette from Juvia's place. It is their newest release, and of course I was going to pick it up because it's a green based eyeshadow palette. Of course I was going to pick it up. If you've been around my channel for any amount of time in the past half a year, then you know that green eyeshadow is my favorite color of eyeshadow. Apparently. That paired with my fondness of the eyeshadow formula of Juvia's place made it impossible for me to resist this palette, so of course I had to pick it up. I ordered it straight from Juvia's place website. I didn't have any issues with the shipment of this palette. It arrived within the amount of time that I would have expected it to. That being said, I want to open like a little side note here. Around Black Friday I actually made an order from the Juvia's place website with a couple of palettes that I wanted to ship to Amber because I wanted to gift her a couple of Juvia's place palettes. I was very disappointed with the customer service of Juvia's place because first of all, the palette only shipped, I want to say, a month after I had ordered it, or like close to a month. Definitely arrived much later than I had expected it to, and that would never have been a problem for me if Juvia's place had communicated everything properly. So what happened is that I placed the order, then for a really long time I didn't get a traffic tracking notification, I didn't get anything to hear from Juvia's place, and I got a little bit worried, so of course I sent them an email to ask, hey, what's going on, to which I received the generic, we ship within 5 to 7 business days excluding holidays, blah 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 spiel. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna be patient and wait a bit longer. Then another week passed by, nothing happened, and then finally I got a tracking notification, and it just said shipping label created for like 1.5 weeks. So basically nothing was happening, and in the end what happened is that I got really irritated because I saw on Instagram that people were already receiving their Tribe palette, which was released after Black Friday. So I made a comment on Juvia's place Instagram saying, hey, it's a little bit strange that people who have ordered the Tribe palette, which is a new release, have already received their orders, whereas people like me who ordered around Black Friday still haven't even had their products shipped. And a lot of people actually replied to my comment saying that the same thing was happening to them, and they also felt very frustrated. But the thing that got to me the most and irritated me the most was that Juvia's place deleted my comment. I was like, what the fuck? Is this really the best way to deal with this? Like, I understand being swamped and overwhelmed with orders around Black Friday, I totally get that. But A, maybe hire more personnel to deal with it, or B, which would be the simplest and kindest and, you know, most logical solution, just inform people. Send an email to everyone who ordered around Black Friday. Folks, due to an overwhelming amount of orders, it might take longer for you to have your tracking and your order shipped. We apologize for the inconvenience. Page closed. Everyone would have been informed, up to speed, no one would be angry, there would be no need for deleting comments on Instagram. So I don't understand why it needs to be so hard to inform your customers. So Juvia's place, take notes. That is the only negative thing I want to say about the brand, because for the rest I absolutely love everything that I have from them, including this palette. But in order for you to see how this palette works, I think it's best to leave you with the demo part of this video, and I'll give you my final thoughts in the end. So let's play with the Tribe palette from Juvia's place, you guys. I'm not going to do anything too groundbreaking. I'm basically going to do something with orange and green because that's the color story of the palette. I'm going to try to use as many shades as I can, and I'm looking for a brush, excuse me. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do for starters is I'm going to take this sort of limeish green color, this grass green, and this beautiful dark forest green, and I'm going to put all three of these through my crease, like just in consecutive order. First I'm taking this limeish green sort of color, and I'm going to work that here in the inner part of my crease. And it has very strong yellow undertones to it, which you can also see if you look at it in the pan. It's the kind of shade that if you want to just lay on your lids on its own, I would say put a white base underneath. It's not going to pop much on its own. I think for a crease shade it's beautiful because it's excellent as a transition shade for a lot of other types of greens, but I don't think it's going to pop much on your lid unless you put a white base underneath. Just FYI. The next color I'm going to go into is that lighter green grass sort of color. See how that one applies? I'm going to put that one more towards the middle of my crease. I'm going to use the same brush. I'm just going to wipe off the lighter sort of green, and I'm going to go into the darkest green, the forest green shade, and I'm going to lay that here in the outer part of my eye. Ooh, this is quite dark and pigmented, so one needs to be careful. More careful than I tend to be. Alright, I'm going to once again wipe off my brush and start blending that color out. What I'm going to do is take that first brush on which we had the really light yellow color, and I'm going to start blending out the edge without really applying any additional eyeshadow for now. I'm going to apply my brow bone highlight, and I always use So Goes My Nation from Notoriously Morbid because it's the perfect brow bone highlight for me, and it's also currently in a project pan that I'm doing, so the more often I use it, the better. Plus, this eyeshadow palette doesn't really have like a brow bone highlight, and I'm the kind of bitch that likes to use a brow bone highlight. Next, I'm going to take this dark green shade over here, and I'm going to apply it in the outer part of my lid, and then I'm going to take this orangey greenish type of duochrome, apply it on the most center part of my lid and towards the inner part, and I'm going to use this one as an inner corner highlight because it's also like a champagne greenish duochrome. I'm going to use the same brush on which I had the super dark green shade and dig into the metallic green. And for now I'm not going to put glitter glue, but I am going to use it in a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to take a glitter glue. I'm going to take glitter glue from Darling Girl Cosmetics, and I'm going to apply that on the bare part of my lid and a little bit over the green, but like the tiniest bit, and I'm going to concentrate that more towards the base of the lash again, not so much towards the crease, because I want to be able to blend out towards the crease, and if I lay down the glitter glue there, it might get really difficult to blend. As per usual, I'm going to use my finger to apply the lid shade, which is going to be the orangey green duo. So that's gonna go all over my lid, like so. That's a really beautiful shade. Gorgeous. I actually don't feel like it's necessary to apply more of the metallic green shade, but I think just for funs and giggles I'm going to stamp a little bit more of that here in the outer corner, just because it's such a pretty shade. Now for my inner corner, I'm dipping into the lightest shade in the palette, which is the duochrome shade. Well, some of them are duochrome, so this is the champagne green duo. Really pretty shade also. So guys, I did my eyeliner off camera, and I did kind of a double wing sort of situation using my NYX Vivid Brights eyeliner in the shade Vivid Escape. It's like a lime green, and I kind of did a small little underwing. And now I'm going to do my lower lash line, and for my lower lash line I'm first going to take one of my Kiko long lasting eyeshadow sticks. This one is in the number 45. It is a beautiful like orangey goldy color, and I'm going to put that in my waterline just as a base. Okay, the last two shades I'm going to use from this palette today are the orange and the metallic orange and the matte orange. I'm going to first apply the matte orange a little bit on my lower lash line, and then I'm going to stamp the metallic orange on my waterline and a little bit to meet up with the matte orange. Okay guys, it's actually a couple of hours later. Nicola and I went for a walk in the meantime. I had lunch, so it's much later in the day and the lighting looks completely different and looks super weird. I'm sorry, I know I'm a hot mess, but what can you do? I completed the look with my Jeffree Star Pumpkin Pie lipstick, which is an orange with pink sparkles. I'm currently panning this liquid lipstick. I'm going to leave my video where I introduce my project pan up in the cards if you're interested, but I really like how this look turned out. Let's talk about the Tribe from Juvia's Place. This is probably my favorite color story that Juvia's Place has ever done, and when I refer to her other palettes that I own as color stories, I mean that very loosely. If you ask me, this is actually my first Juvia's Place palette that actually has a color story, because all the other ones, I'm very sorry, maybe she has some rhyme and reason into why she's picking these colors together, but to me it looks like a hot mess. So every time I look at her other eyeshadow palettes I get confused. That is actually the reason why it took me so long to try Juvia's Place, because every time I looked at her palettes I was like, this looks like a fucking hot mess. How am I supposed to pair these colors together? So in the end I ordered the Magic palette not because I fell in love with the color story, but because it offered the widest variety of shades that I could try in order to try the brand. And I fell in love with her formula, which is why I kind of always like overlooked the whole crazy, colorful, no sense-making color stories that she has put out. This is the first palette that I think makes sense and is a true color story. It's a simple color story, but it really isn't necessary for the color story to be way too complicated and overly complicated, because that's kind of an overkill. I absolutely loved all of the shades that I used today, and I feel like I used all of them except for this one here. And even this shade, it looks like a super boring brown, but I've already seen from other people and their tutorials that it actually is more like in olive dirty green color. So even this shade has green tones to it. I absolutely love this palette. I love the shimmers as usual. They are super creamy, they're super foiled, they apply beautifully on the lid. The mattes are super nice as usual, they blend it out really nicely. I absolutely love this deep forest green shade. This is a very interesting and unique color. Definitely not a color that I would encourage you to just use on your lids over an eyeshadow base, because I don't think that's going to work out. If you want it on your lid and you want it to pop, I would highly suggest putting it over a white base, but I think over a white base you shouldn't have any issues with it. This is not a very unique green, but it makes so much sense with the rest of the palette. These two duochrome shades here are absolutely stunning. There's really nothing negative I can say based on my first impression about this palette. I really enjoyed it, and I highly encourage and hope that Juvia's Place is going to continue making color stories like this that make sense. This is without a doubt one of my favorite Juvia's Place palettes so far, not just in my collection, but just that she has ever released, and I can't wait to do a Project 5 wears with it, so keep an eye out for that. I'm definitely going to do that in the future, so you're going to see more looks with this palette. I think that's pretty much all there is to this demo and first impressions video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know if you picked up the Tribe palette from Juvia's Place and how you like it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!